morning from the cloudy Copenhagen, and welcome to the webinar Business Models for Energy Efficiency, Energy Performance Contracting, hosted by Copenhagen Center on Energy Efficiency. My name is Begonia, and I'm working as a research assistant at the Copenhagen Center, and I will be the moderator for today's webinar. A couple of things before we move to the main content of our webinar. This webinar is going to be about 30 minutes long, including time for Q&A at the end. In case you cannot stay until then or want to get back to our presentations, all the materials and recording of the whole webinar will be available online in a few days on the Copenhagen Center's Knowledge Management System. And we have many other webinars and information there. Have a look. I will give you more information in a few minutes. Before we start discussing about today's webinar, I would like to inform our attendees that we comply with the General Data Protection Act, also known as GDPR. This means that your personal data, such as name, email, workplace, is safely processed and stored, and all of your rights pursuant to the GDPR are respected. You have full access to the data being processed about you, and at any time, you can request that inaccurate data be deleted or rectified. For access or further information, please contact with the people that are presented here. A few things about the Copenhagen Center. The center conducts research and advisory activities in the field of energy efficiency and serves as energy efficiency hub for the Sustainable Energy for All initiative. The center has an established network of global, regional, and national partners with a broad range of stakeholders to help accelerate the implementation of energy efficiency activities. On a regular basis, the Copenhagen Center is conducting webinars. All materials, including recordings and presentations from previous webinars, can be found on Copenhagen Center's Knowledge Management System under the e-learning section. The material of today's webinar will be uploaded shortly, but until then, you can check one of the recommended webinars that are related to today's topic. And now, I would like to briefly introduce you to the speaker of today's webinar. Xianli's work focuses on analyzing and designing enabling policies and programs for energy efficiency improvement and climate change mitigation. Her work focus has shifted to energy efficiency since 2015, and currently she works on improving the transparency of climate actions in China, the monitoring, reporting, and verification of district energy projects, as well as efficient cooling. Finally, I would like to inform that you can send us your questions during the presentation, and we will do our best to answer as many as we can at the end. And now I'm pleased to give the floor to Xianli Su.
Thanks a lot, Begonia, for the introduction. Very glad that you spent the Friday afternoon for this presentation. In the next 20 minutes, I will talk about business models for energy efficiency, especially ESCOs and energy performance contracting. First, about the benefits of energy efficiency and driving factors. And then I will talk about the different business models for energy performance contracting. And in the end, we'll also talk about some sources you can find more information on this topic and our work regarding the global ESCO network. First, the benefits of energy efficiency. We know like energy efficiency means you can do more with less, and you can with the same kind of same amount of energy, you get more. So it can bring a lot of benefits, including saving energy and reducing environmental pollution and damage, and lower your energy cost. And also for the national level, the country maybe can reduce energy imports or saving some investment in power plants, different energy infrastructure. Also, it's often energy efficiency is often profitable or cheap. You can actually save money, more money than you invest in energy efficiency. So there's also there are a lot of opportunities for energy improvement in every sector of the economy, at homes, in the industries, transport, buildings, all sectors. The Sustainable Development Goals 7, SDG 7, is set a target for doubling the global annual rate of energy efficiency improvement by 2030. That's basically from 1.3 to 2.6% per year. So globally, you can see also this year's tracking progress of how much we are doing globally with energy efficiency improvement to achieve this 2.6 goal. You can see before the base period, that is 1990 to 2010, the global is 1.3%. In the last few years, some years we are doing globally, we are doing more. Some years we are doing less. So, but to achieve this goal, on track to the 2.6% in the remaining years, we need to almost 3% per year to globally to do energy efficiency. So how to do that? There are basically a few factors that's the driving factors for energy efficiency. One is technologies. Technologies, we know like globally that's constant technology progress. So with the more efficient technologies, definitely we can make improve our energy efficiency. Another is policies. A lot of times, the policies need to be in place to support energy efficiency actions, like standards and labeling. Sometimes is like a vehicle fuel economy tax and subsidies. Many countries have this, and also investment. It's investments by the government, by the public, and by the companies, by households that need to be in place. Also, there's consumer behaviors and lifestyle. So for business models, it's more like you know what your customer needs, there's market demand, and you can provide the service or products, and then you get at a reasonable cost and get some profit. That is a business model. For the energy efficiency, if you think there are many businesses in this area, some are producing energy efficient products, market them, and provide some services like energy audit, energy management. There are also many professionals and workers like architects, design zero or low energy buildings. There are construction workers who come to build these buildings, facilities, and the carpenters, electricians. They are all needed. And the business models we talk today is ESCO. It's a kind of company which built on providing energy efficient solutions, including design and implementation, and focusing on energy savings and retrofitting and conservation. ESCOs first appeared in the US in the 1980s and have been developing, expanding around the world. The biggest markets today are in China, the US, and the EU. Basically, the energy performance contracting or the ESCOs business model is built on this, like in this diagram. You can see because energy saving save a lot of money, so the energy ESCO company can come in, do the assessment, saying, okay, take these measures, we can achieve so much energy efficiency or energy cost saving. Then they help design and carry out the implementation and with the cost saving. So they can get their investment return, get some profits, and the owner of the facility, like an industry or the building owners, they also get some saving because of this action intervention. So it's energy performance contracting is a financing mechanism. It's basically use today's upgrade to pay for it with tomorrow's energy saving. So in this way, ESCO, the advantage of ESCO or energy performance contracting is the ESCOs, they have the technical expertise. They know the market, the price, how much they can achieve with different equipments or interventions, and they can safely guarantee like they pay, invest in it, and get their payment back. While the owners, facility owners, find their efficiency improved, the quality of service improved, like for the houses, it's more comfortable, and also their bills saved. So this is really a win-win solution. That's why in many places this business model is spreading and developing. According to the IEA, in 2017, latest data is the global the ESCO market is around $28.6 billion, and the largest share of this is in China, 59%, then also US and Europe. On average, according to the IEA, this energy performance contracting, they can develop up to 25% of the energy savings, sometimes often more than that. And also these kind of projects often concentrated in non-residential buildings, like public buildings, commercial buildings, and industries. And there are very few projects in the transport sector because its payback period is long, and many of the ESCOs, some are subsidiaries of bigger companies like Siemens, Honeywell, Schneider Electric. These companies, they provide such kind of services because they are also producers, leading producers in certain equipment. And there are also some standalone ESCOs. Some are public, some are private. And those typically such ESCOs are not very big. They are a small group of professionals providing the service. So sometimes these kind of ESCOs, maybe they do not have they have more constraints on how much money they can access. So the ESCO, the energy performance contracting, what's the process? Normally, it's a owner, facility owner or building owner. They decide to use this process for doing some energy efficient retrofitting. First, they invite for bids for some to select the ESCOs, and when they contract the ESCO to come in to do the audit to find out which kind of measures are possible and how much is the cost and the returns. Then they finalize the contract, arrange for financing, who will finance this investment, and how to pay for the ESCO company, and also they implement these measures and monitor how much saving is achieved, and then through verification to share the benefits. So basically, ESCO, there are two kind of business models. One is guaranteed saving. That means the ESCO company, the company come in and only provide the services, and they do not arrange the financing. The owner, facility owner, the factory owner or the building owner, they go out arrange the financing, getting the loans, or somehow to pay the services or the equipment, buy the equipment. The ESCO only provide the services to implement, but they only get a great fee for these services, and they have to promise this by the end of the day. The interventions will achieve a certain level of energy saving or cost saving. That's why it's called guaranteed saving. If it does not, they may have to reduce their fee or payment to the ESCOs. Another model is called a shared savings business model. In such a situation, the ESCO provides both the services, technical service, and arrange the financing of the project or investment. That means they find money to buy the equipment, do the renovation or retrofitting, and also provide do the installment operation sometimes. Then they get a share the saving. They get a certain percentage of the saving from the investment for a certain period. Upon end of the period, then the equipment is given for free to the facility owner and the ESCO, company no longer involves. Also, in the energy performance contract, there's also some, it's like a pay-as-you-save model. This also involves sometimes like equipment, especially like lighting or appliances that are often like a bigger company, equipment provider or a utility company come in to say, okay, we know how much you currently pay for your energy bill, and we change the equipment, and you continue pay your current energy bill for a certain period. Then maybe after 2 years or 1 year, you get the equipment for free and you pay your energy bill according to your actual consumption. Or sometimes if a third company, they need to have this, make sure they can get this. And the users, the consumers continue paying the same bill. So in this way, also the owners, they do not need to put money, but they get some energy saving after a certain period and better services. Also, for example, one is for even public lighting, street lighting, public lighting is like the ESCO company come in to buy the equipment and then change this. Then they provide this service to the municipalities. To do this, then they get, because the municipalities save money, they can pay the ESCOs. So this kind of one example in Brazil, how they do that for the cities to do change to efficient lighting without the municipalities have to go out arranging the money. So this is also a kind of ESCO model. Also, super ESCOs. As I mentioned before, there are in many places, there are small ESCOs. With small ESCOs, the problem is often consumers or the factory owners or building owners, they lack of trust. They do not know whether they can trust such a company and how much is their expertise. Will they do the how much or there's investment capacity risk constraints? So in recent years, a few countries like India, also UAE, Thailand, several countries are developing this super ESCO model. The governments put money and build up a bigger ESCO company, which has large fund government backing of credit, so they are more, you can trust them, and they have also the finance, though especially the ESL, the Indian Super ESCO. They were able to get hundreds of millions of dollars from the World Bank, loans from World Bank, ADB, so they can go in that way. They can go out, roll out energy efficiency pumps, efficient pumps, fans, and lighting very quickly. So that way, it's a really aggregating level to do it quickly. And this is a super ESCO, how they do it. Super ESCO can do, they can, like the eating one, they can do a such bulk purchase or procurement. They buy millions or hundreds of millions of equipment lighting. They can quickly negotiate a good price and also go and make sure it's good quality. That's also public procurement rule. And in the process, they can also engage private companies with government, with international funding, government funding. They have a lot of funding, so they can go out, implement projects in public buildings, street lighting, public facilities, and through the saving, they get back their investment and money. So in this way, they can really roll out this energy efficient performance contracting quickly and very get win market trust. I have to say that, as I mentioned before, energy performance contracting (EPC) have mainly two business models. One is shared saving, one is guaranteed saving. But in the reality, ESCOs actually doing more than that. Sometimes they are just like any other technical companies, provide the service and get a certain level of fee, like you hear a company come in to change your roof, do the designing, that kind of services, do repair, maintenance. Sometimes they also have this called chauffeur contract. They do not depending on the energy saving. How much is achieved from the investment? They get a certain fee for the services achieved. You can see generally this as market more developing, there's more trust. Also, the business models evolving. You can see there's two figures in China from 2012. That's in the beginning, a lot of shared saving and guaranteed saving typical EPC models. Today, it's a lot of more different models. Sometimes some like hotels just say, okay, so much is our cost for energy. Can you help do the innovation for a certain period? Just give the same cost, you get it. So this kind of energy cost management or custody service. Sometimes the building and the transfer, sometimes transfer, build, operate, and transfer many different models. Equipment leasing, so a lot of business model innovation. What are the common barriers to energy EPC development? First is awareness and information. Often, like it's energy efficiency actions or investment. It's complicated. You need some technical expertise to assess how much you need to invest, how much energy saving you can achieve. And often companies or building owners do not have this kind of expertise, or sometimes you are not aware of this possibility to use such a professional company services. And sometimes there are also legal and political barriers. Some laws and legislation are regarding accounting, how you when you get the equipment, how do you accounting the cost for the ESCOs, how you the tax, and also sometimes the standards and the certification, and also sometimes public procurement. And in some situations, the government have different budget lines. The energy cost is paid as the actual cost. You cannot use the energy saving to fund the investment. There are also sometimes is financing barriers, whether you can get the ESCOs can get loans for such services, and also the market and partnership problems. Sometimes is energy prices too low, and sometimes perceived risks, and sometimes a lack of well-established partnerships, and sometimes company maybe are willing to take on long-term debt, and also risk aversion, and they prefer do that in-house instead of hiring ESCOs to come in to check their energy consumption. Sometimes also these commercial secret concerns. We do not want a third party company to come in and check and intervene with the production processes. And also because a lot of EPC energy performance contracts depend on the achievement the savings. So this how to calculate or verify these savings also an issue. So when there have no standards or guidelines on this, how to achieve that, that's also an area. So what government can do to promote or support EPC development and ESCO development? There's awareness raising and capacity building, and also tax subsidies for such kind of projects, and also guideline standards on this measurement verification, so that there's not so many contractual disputes. And also these public buildings. Actually, government in many situations, in most countries, government is also a bigger consumers of energy. So they have public buildings, hospitals, schools, government buildings, and street lighting, water supply. There are also many energy efficiency opportunities to do that. The government can take the lead in doing such projects. That can also developing the market and build public trust in such awareness in such kind of business models. Also financing policies like bank loans, guarantees, insurance products. Internationally, World Bank, IFC, different development banks also sometimes afford help with such loans and to help countries develop their ESCO market, EPCs, and also training and accreditation of professionals, like training of energy auditors, energy managers, and the accreditation of ESCOs. For example, in the US, in China, they do have this ESCO credit qualification system list and accreditation system, so that make sure the ESCOs have the right expertise profile to do the proper services. And in China, they also have a credit system. If you, the company, have some default, some contract do not do what they promise, you also are publicly available the information. So in that way, you can build trust and help avoid contract disputes. Finally, because the ESCO is really can play an important role in the market, using market solutions for energy efficiency improvement. The Copenhagen Center for Energy Efficiency has set up a global ESCO network with more like a global level research and information awareness raising, and also to make this globally, how to we make improve the policy environment to make ESCO and prosper, and also to make sure that is developing the policies, fundings for ESCO development. We are it's hosted here in the Copenhagen, and also we are currently doing this in different kind of international bigger conference, and also it's built on existing regional network associations like Asian, Latin American, European, American, these regional ESCO associations. And we are also developing a report on global ESCO perspectives, will be released before end of this year. You can find more information about this global ESCO network at our website. Finally, if you are interested in this topic, ESCO development, energy performance contract, you can find it from IA, the global data, the US, the Department of Energy. You also have a lot of guidelines how to do this, and the different standards, guidelines. And also you can see this Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland. They also have a guidance. And the US, they also have this Energy Protection Agency, also have a report. The World Bank also have some reports, also ISME. So these kind of places, if you are interested, there's more reports and information about this topic. Thank you very much for your attention. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much, Xianli, for the very useful presentation. Now, I would like to introduce the Q&A session, and we have received many interesting questions from the audience. The first one, as you can see in the screen, is about how is the monitoring and verification conducted to ensure the accuracy of the energy performance contracting savings and payments?
Thanks, Begonia. Yeah, about this monitoring and verification, we know like for energy efficiency, it's really a comparison. How much you save, you have to have a baseline data. What's the current level in the past or the current level? So you need to normally you have to have some data about 1 year or usually at least 1 year of data. How much your energy consumption, how much is the services you get. Like for a company, you need to have the production or output level and the energy use. If you have a household, you need to know also the climate condition in the past year, how much energy you use, or what kind of services. Then you have to, for the energy saving period, you need also to know what kind of service you get, the output, and how much energy you use. Normally, you have to compare the two to get this monitoring and verification. To avoid contract disputes, you have to have this how to do the measurement and the verification agreed before the project starts, so that you have the ESCO and the facility owner have a common understanding how they will measure this, because that's really it's related to how much they will get from whether the ESCO can get back or the owner can get back its investment and get the expected commercial benefits they hoped or they promised. That's a monitoring and verification measurement is a very important component for the EPC to work.
Thank you so much, Xianli, for the very detailed explanation. Another question we have received from the audience. What are the typical energy efficiency technology payback periods in Europe?
This question is really a little difficult to say because it really depends on what kind of energy efficiency and technology you are talking about. Some energy efficient technologies, typically like windows or doors, changes that, or the bulbs or refrigerators, that can be payback period very short. Often, like if you change it from a normal, like incandescent bulb or the CFL to a LED, it can be payback period only a few months. Some deep renovation, especially if you change your roof, it can take quite maybe 10 or 15 years for a payback period. So it really depends on case by case, what's your current technology you use and what's the future. But I have to mention in Europe, there are still many opportunities, the payback period within 5 years. So during the recent ECEEE annual conference, when the EU is want to improve this energy efficiency target for 2030, one question is how to make sure companies do all the opportunities within a payback period less than 5 years. So there are definitely a lot of commercial opportunities for industry sector, for commercial sector within less than 5 year payback period. We need still there are different incentives like of barriers, the different barriers that's not achieved. So we need to make sure those cheap and profitable opportunities are taken.
Thank you, Xianli. Another relevant question we have received. How do we overcome financing barriers in energy performance contracting development?
First, most is really the general, policy or national context. If you have banks are aware this energy efficiency and these kind of opportunities, the payback period, so they are willing to lend for this kind of opportunities, and also like the energy prices. When its energy price is expensive, generally you make the energy the same investment, same amount of energy saving. The payback period is shorter. So this energy prices, what's the financial sector's awareness about this? Also, as I mentioned, this kind of super ESCOs is a shortcut because this kind of public public support, government support behind it. So that's why big banks want to lend and are ready to give the international financial institutions like the World Bank are ready to do it. Or these bigger ESCOs, they can go out issue green bonds to make a way to finance this kind of activities. So this financing barriers, or you give guarantees or insurance, so like the facility owners, the ESCOs, they can in a way to share this kind of risk. So that kind of all these different issues can be taken to address these financing barriers.
Thank you so much, Xianli. Another last question we just received. How can we access to technical support from the Center for Capacity Building activities in countries like Ecuador?
And the Copenhagen Center, really, we are doing more and more to supporting countries' capacity building. So if you really need, you can contact us, sending us an email, contact us about what kind of help your technical support you need. Often we will try to do this kind of capacity building for different countries. Like currently we are doing Colombia, East Africa region, and also for Mozambique. We do this kind of services sometimes is for free to these countries because it's as energy efficiency hub for C4O. We do have this kind of mandate helping countries doing this energy efficiency capacity building.
Thank you so much, Xianli, for the explanation. A question now regarding the Global ESCO network. What are its main objectives and activities?
We think like ESCO, the main objective is we think ESCO can play a much bigger role, but and there are still many energy cost effective, or you say profitable energy efficiency opportunities there. There's a bigger potential for more potential for ESCO, but so far you can see ESCO is still not developing, reach its full potential. That's why we are doing this global ESCO network to through this like the climate change negotiation at the top level to raise this profile of ESCOs, how to improve policies and environment to awareness to make ESCO play a more bigger role in achieving climate change mitigation, energy efficiency.
Thank you so much, Xianli, for the detailed responses to the questions. Well, ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end of the webinar. I would like to say thank you to Xianli for the informative and interesting presentation, and to the audience for their active participation. We hope that the presentation will be beneficial for all stakeholders involved in energy efficiency, and thank you so much for your attention and wish you a good day or night from Copenhagen.